Good morning, everyone. It is Funky Fresh Fridays. We love Fridays. It's training day, passion, purpose, and profitability. Here we are on Friday, just loving it. Let's get the questions rolling in. We've had Clubhouse. We've had office hours. We've had coaching. We've done it all this morning already. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you, Jake, for being such a great moderator as well. Zeus, welcome. Good to see you. What's up, everybody? Jake, thanks. Nick, thanks. Let's get the questions rolling. We got great guests today. Training is in 3 hours from now, no matter what time zone you are in, 11 a.m. Pacific time. If you miss it, it's featured on the playbook. So download the playbook on every platform. And we are going to be launching with Blue Wire at the Win, my new studio. We have a studio at SoFi as well, and we have our studio, and my closet, of course. So join us for the playbook. Download it, share it, like it. We have extraordinary guests, extraordinary experience. Elias, what's going on? We'll have you join here in about 4 minutes. 11 a.m. training today is passion, purpose, and profitability. If you want all three of those, join us at 11 a.m. or download the playbook. What's up with crypto? No idea, unless I know your timing and risk tolerance. If I know your timing and risk tolerance, I can tell you what's up with crypto, because you got to align any investments you make with timing and risk tolerance. Here we go. How do you find an investor? Before you find an investor, you need to be able to articulate the quantitative value of the investment to exceed what you're asking for. So you need to articulate the quantitative value, and before you can then ask in person, on the phone, via email, and social media for an investor. That's how you find an investor. Most people don't think about the credibility, emotional attachment, and the quantification of the value that they're giving to exceed what they're asking for. Got to do it. I can help you. David@dmeltzer.com. Grab my book, ebook, audiobook. I'll send it to you for free. Not a problem. I'll sign a book, ship it to you for free. Not a problem. Just reach out. Most valuable lesson learned this week is that the truth vibrates the fastest. The people I love the most, especially about business, are lying to themselves. In varying degrees, they're lying to themselves. And the network and the combo is just connected, and it just becomes obvious that they're lying to themselves. Of course, they're lying to me too, but they're lying to themselves. And it makes it very difficult to re-engineer or to clear that interference when people are not telling the truth to themselves. And so all I do is pray for their happiness. But big lesson this week: the truth vibrates the fastest. It always comes out, always does. And I found that particularly in the closest relationships I have in business right now. But, forgiveness is also combined with gratitude and accountability, and we'll get it through it. We'll learn the lessons. And luckily, I get to compensate the people that are the most honest to themselves and perform the best in my business. And you should do the same. Keaton has not learned how to put these into the questions yet, but he has to be my intern of the month. Keaton, good to have you here. How do you leave bitterness and hatred behind? You can't leave it behind, but you can limit it. Don't leave it behind, because the ego is always there, and bitterness and hatred are an awareness of the ego. And so what you want to do is effectuate the drop, stop, drop, and roll technique to spend minutes and moments in bitterness, spend minutes and moments in hatred. Know that hatred and bitterness are part of and parcel to the love that you have. You cannot hate something that you don't care about. And the more you care about it, the more you can hate it, and the bitter you can be about it. So understand how that works. Either's here. He also working on how to put that into the questions, but I appreciate these two guys. What's the number one thing you have to do each morning to make sure it's a great day? Actually, the number one thing I do for the morning is at night. I have an unwinding routine at 9 p.m. I put my mind, my body, and my soul in a position to plateau and grow, to create a baseline for myself so that I can find the light, the love, and the lessons, and spend minutes and moments outside of that. Elias is here. Give me 1 more minute, my friend. The incredible change advocate, the agent of change, MMA fighter, cannabis advocate, actor, and model, Elias Theodoro, is going to be joining us right now. So let's learn about how this professional athlete is changing the way for an important. There he is. What's up, Elias?
Hey, David. I'm fantastic. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic as well. Let me turn up my volume a little bit here so I can hear you. I was on the clubhouse, turned it down. Um, Hey, I've been in this game a long time, like you, and
Hmm.
I have been an advocate for CBD cannabis for a long time. And the reason is that I, as an entrepreneur, see more people have life-changing impact where they want to start a business as if they're the first one ever to experience cannabis or CBD. They'll like drop their law
Yeah.
practice, drop their, they'll have
Stop what you're
multi-car
doing.
dealership, right? It's like, oh my God, I've had chronic chronic pain. My back is hurt for the last 12 years, and I took this gummy. All of a sudden, the pain's gone, and my doctor's been prescribed. I had 2 surgeries, and and you're like, dude, do not change. You don't have to go ahead and be in the business. Just go ahead
True.
and enjoy it and be an advocate and share it. But in athletics, you and I have known the injustices that have occurred, and they're changing. But
Yep.
why don't you give everybody a little bit of a historical analysis to display the human nature of what's going on with cannabis and where that change is occurring?
Yeah, in sports more specifically, it all comes back to the federal standing. Obviously, cannabis being a Schedule One drug, federal wide in the U.S., that is, the precedent that has been set, and that kind of dictates everything that goes on in the sports world. Obviously, we've seen what's happened more recently in regards to, cannabis falling, kind of showing up in someone's system, and the ability for that to kind of derail someone's hopes and dreams and aspirations to go to the Olympics. But again, it's just kind of been that aspect of USADA, the WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency. They've kind of fallen and they've kind of taken tune to the precedent of the aspect of it being very illegal in the U.S. Obviously, it's changing. The cannabis side of history is kind of taking over. Even where I am in Canada in Toronto, we've enjoyed now, come this October, 3 years of legalization. On top of that, we've had federal medical rights, federal medical cannabis for the better part of, I think, 10, 15 years at this point. But the US is going in the right direction. My own personal battle has been originally with USADA as well. When I was with the UFC, a US company, which partnered with USADA. Basically, I applied for what's called a therapeutic use exemption. Cannabis, as we see, is a prohibited substance, but I asked for a request via my doctor, via my medical documents, to use cannabis instead of first-line medicines like opioids, SSRIs, and other type of painkillers. It was an uphill battle for quite some time because again, the federal component of it being illegal and USADA getting funded by the US government, they have to recognize any type of medical things and barriers that they have. So again, it being a Schedule One drug means there's no medical properties. So they agreed and they recognized my condition, which is bilateral neuropathy, essentially nerve damage of my upper extremities. As you could imagine, everything I do kind of pushes that a little bit even more so. So with my doctor's help and guidance, we discovered that cannabis was better for me than traditional medicine. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, with USADA and with the outdated process and recognizing that they have, it was an uphill battle that I wasn't able to necessarily overcome there. But when the UFC and I parted ways, I was able to be not only a free agent but an agent of change. And I applied for a therapeutic use exemption in the province of British Columbia. And I was approved under my fundamental right as a Canadian to medicate as prescribed by my doctor. And I set precedent not only for myself, but all other MMA fighters and boxers in the province of British Columbia. And then I actually had my own event where I was both a fighter and promoter. And it was all funded by cannabis, actually. I put a 19 and 21 plus age gated component to the venue, and it was the first fully funded sporting event by cannabis. And I made history twice, actually three times if you count the fact that my event was the first full contact sporting event since COVID in Canada. And I'm going to take that momentum moving forward for my next fight. which will be in Colorado around October 17th, which is the anniversary of legalization here in Canada, as I look to be the great Canadian export in the US soon too.
That is awesome. And it's so interesting how, I teach that pain and
Mhm.
setbacks, mistakes, failures, etc. A lot of people see it as a punishment. And a lot of
Mhm.
people could have taken the perspective of punishment for what happened to you. But it also is propulsion, right? It propels us when we
For
have the
sure.
right mindset. And, even economically, your brand, even if you fought in the UFC, may not have been as big as it is now. You may not have had as many endorsements as you do now. You may not have as much impact to
Mhm.
create the change as a change agent as you do now if this had never occurred and they just approved your exemption. So
100%.
what
And
was
control over the, and sorry to interrupt, but and control over the actual content. Because as the promoter and fighter, I own everything that I'm doing in the cannabis space. And then after the next one in Colorado, both in when I make history in BC, next Colorado, I will own all of that and I can share it with all.
which is so important, right? In the stage theory of being able to amplify and perpetuate it and build your brand as that legacy
Cannabis
legend.
athlete.
You're the cannabis athlete guy, and it goes beyond just fighting. As you're
Yep.
working with other Olympic athletes, other professional athletes, you can see the trend and the money that's going to be behind the assimilation of the drugs in order to help people. And one of the things that I've learned throughout the years as well as I've dealt with this issue very early on when they were giving life sentences to people
Yes.
three times losers. And, luckily we let most of those people out of jail now. But it was, truly interesting is that any drug or any substance used too much has detrimental effects
For sure.
for sure. Right. And I mean, I tell people all the time, if you drink too much water, you actually can die.
Yes. Water poisoning, for sure.
Right.
100%.
And
Mhm.
it's like, so don't tell me these case studies of the effects of different drugs. And I'm not even just talking CBD or cannabis
Mhm.
or any, look, under the proper regimen, I can find very few substances, including water, which I'm a big fan of water, by the
Me
way.
too.
I mean, cannabis has so many positive effects that
Yeah.
and it takes so much of it to harm you in your
Even if
body.
it can, because we have what are called the cannabinoid receptors, so our body actually can recognize it. Again, there's an anecdotal component where like it basically takes twice your body weight in one sitting, which is physically impossible. I think it's something to that effect. But again, a big proponent of cannabis. I personally vaporize. I try to medicate as healthy as possible. The brand of choice that I usually use is Stores and Bickle. They're the first medically approved cannabis vaporizing system. So I thought I saw some of the questions earlier where they were asking like, how much smoking is, too much, harmful, et cetera, et cetera. As with anything, your point is very well taken. Moderation is key, right? Obviously, if you're looking at a medical stance, it's something that you have to talk to your doctor. I would actually argue that everyone, in many cases, should talk to the doctor to see what cannabis and what underlying aspects that they might be using and self-medicating cannabis with, right? We self-medicate. We're basically big bags of chemicals, and it takes different types of chemicals to kind of put us together. And everybody and every body is different. So me, I need cannabis. I'm not saying other people don't need opioids, but I'm saying the fact that, again, USADA and the backwards mentality where I was going for a therapeutic use exemption, it was kind of ironic, and it would be funny if it wasn't sad in the capacity that I would, I would have a whole process with my doctors and my medical team and saying, this is why cannabis works for me. And they'd be like, have you tried opiates? And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then we had to exhaust every single medicine. And they didn't just want for 21 days. They wanted for 8, 9 weeks. I had to take SSRIs. I had to take antidepressants to the point where my doctor would literally look at what they're suggesting and be like, yo, he didn't say yo, but I'm saying yo, we haven't done this since the 80s and 90s. We don't do this anymore for this. They basically wanted to numb me. But the ironic part, and again, it would be funny if it wasn't sad, USADA actually had a kind of campaign of don't do opioids, like don't, like they were trying to combat opioid addiction while they're telling me take opioids. You just take opioids for that. And again, the underlining aspect is USADA, they get funded by the U.S. government, and the U.S. government still looks at cannabis as federally speaking, as a Schedule One drug, which means there's no medical property.
Right. And I will tell you this, when you look at the economics since the 20s of alcohol, drugs in America, you will see the economic influence that we have on determining whether something has medical properties
Or not. Yeah, yeah. Well,
you know,
even
one
when,
glass of wine a day, even in the 20s, would have helped you. You know,
yep,
it's certain people, right? And one
yep,
glass of wine can have some major medical, contributing factors to your life
just
for some
loosening you
people.
up. Yeah, just
Yeah.
loosening you up, right? Like that's what it is. After a whole long day, whether it's a glass of wine, whether it may be a beer, whether it is a joint, or whether it's yoga, stretching, everybody and every body is different. And you mentioned the economics component. This all has to do with economics in regards to the for-profit prison system that the U.S. has, and add to the aspect of there's only one exception to slavery in the U.S., and that's prison. And up until recently, again, the ability to put someone in jail for a plant not only took away their freedom, but it also took away their voice. Because in many states up until recently, it also took you away your right to vote. So getting caught with a plant took away not only your freedom, but your voice. And there was a plan for that. Again, the powers that be did that.
Well, I appreciate what you're doing as a change agent and as a great, impactful influencer with good intentions in mind for athletes, especially. And I love the fact that you're going to be that advocate for the cannabis athlete, which is only going to grow exponentially for the future. Check out Elias. He's at Elias Theodoro, and he's also at eliastheodoro.com. He's easy to find. You see him everywhere. TV. He's doing the job, making and building all the great content that's necessary to educate and raise awareness. Please come on more of my stuff, man. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate it too. Definitely would love to come on when the fight is set and make history again in Colorado.
I'll come see you. I'm on the Olympic board, so I'll come and see you when it's in Colorado. That's for
Hell
sure.
yeah. Awesome.
Right.
Deal.
Well, man, take care. Thank you.
Take care. Happy
Right
Friday.
on. Elias is the man. All right. Everything in moderation. I actually eat one Happy Meal a month because I think mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, eating that Happy Meal once a month is way outweighs the effects of one Happy Meal a month. I'm a huge McDonald's guy. Hamburger Happy Meal. That's my jam once a month. All right. My friends are here. Let's check them out. We will have them join us as we go here and going live. And let's see, we will send those requests. Hopefully everybody joins. What's going on? Can you hear me? There they are.
Yes.
Hi, David. How are you?
Hey, great to see you guys. Thank you so much. Co-founders of Confidence, confidencedrink.com. Brandon and Charles, what's going on, my boys? You guys give us a little background on the Confidence business, the Confidence drink, and I know you have a question for me as well.
For sure. First of all, thank you so much for having us. Super excited to chat a little bit about the brand. So to give a little backstory on what confidence is. So, Charles and I are both young people, Gen Z entrepreneurs, and, through our prior work in tech, we kind of became really aware of this huge problem that's happening of, growing a generation in the social media age really lacking confidence. And, we've really built this very unfortunate comparison culture that really makes people feel bad about themselves all day. So, working in tech, we realized that there has to be a change in this world, and that change can't come from tech because, there's so much money in the industry that profits from this incline in, depression rates and, this mental impact, which is very unfortunate, but it has to come from something else. So, both being very into the brain hacking space, we started just for fun to kind of look at adaptogens and nootropics and see what we could come up with as a blend that, gives confidence. And then from there, we kind of started looking at the beverage industry and saw that adaptogen-based beverages are the fastest growing beverage industry right now. So, from there, we were like, let's get the top scientists in the country that work with these kinds of products and build something out that gives you confidence. So a year and a half later, we just launched 2 months ago. kind of, drink is exploding, going all over the place. We're, getting so much interest from investors, from stores, influencers who want to be brand ambassadors. Couldn't be more thankful for the way things are going. And yeah, I mean, drink's going super, super well.
Awesome. And, it's funny because confidence to me is completely the antithesis of what the Gen Z experiences, right? So we have what creates confidence is clarity, balance, and focus. All of those are counterintuitive to the social impact of social media, as well as all the content and all the different platforms. And of course, how we are inundated with information. There's more data today than there was in the past 100 years. So you can imagine how difficult it is to be clear, balanced, and focused in order to effectuate. And then the other part that you mentioned was the comparison. I have an old saying, comparison is the thief of joy. And when we can look within to find outside of us what's inside of us, we are a lot better off. Do you guys have a question for me or something I can help you guys with?
Yeah, for sure. So, kind of adding on to the intro, as we're growing so quickly, and we started off kind of in niche markets, in LA locally at Erewhon, stores like Jade's Market, Earth Bar, and now we're kind of talking to big box retailers as we kind of expand to the 7-Elevens of the world. How do we, make people confident as the drink is starting to sit next to, Red Bulls and Monsters versus, more vitamin based and CBD based drinks that are healthier for you? How do we kind of instill that confidence in people that this is still, a good product for you? It's healthy because, we don't want to be a niche product. We want to make this for the mass markets. We want to sell at those big box retailers at a lower price point, even though we use the most premium ingredients there are. And, we are a healthy beverage at the end of the day. So, how do we instill that confidence in people that, this is still a healthy product?
Yeah, there's three things that you need to do. One, you need to gather credibility. And in order to gather the credibility in that space, you need to have the appropriate financing, right? You need to have that's going to give you the most credibility in the space. And then also having the appropriate channel partners, supporters, et cetera, that also can lend their credibility to what you're doing, whether it's in the distribution, the marketing, the PR, the endorsement, the influencer side. The second one that you need to have is an emotional connection, right? You really need to find out what the big boxes like about what they're doing and don't like, and then address how you make yourself equal on what they like, but also can fulfill a need of what they don't like about the existing distribution and products that they have on their shelves and where they're doing it. And then finally, one of the most overlooked things that you need to be able to do, especially when you're younger, is practice articulating the value of what you do to exceed what you're asking for, right? You want to practice what you just went through with me to truly be able to articulate the quantitative value of what you're giving to exceed what you're asking for. And if you can have the credibility through what you know and who you know, if you can get to that emotional attachment of understanding what they like and don't like and making yourself equal, but also making yourself better. And then finally, really getting good at articulating the quantitative value of what you're asking for to exceed, what you're giving to exceed what you're asking for, you will have statistical success beyond your belief, exponentially grow. I've worked with so many different beverage companies since Red Bull, from sampling, distribution, PR, marketing, brand building, through the traditional aspects to now utilizing the stage theory to capture, modify, amplify, and perpetuate what you're doing and provide relationship capital to accelerate that. So if you guys want to reach out to me, I'd be happy to help in that advisory role. I think what you're doing is extraordinary. I think you're in the right place at the perfect time, and your product is exceptional. So make sure you reach out to me. I'm right below there, david@dmeltzer.com. Thank you both for joining me. Find these guys at confidencedrink.com, at Confidence Drink, soon to be on shelves everywhere. Thank you so much, Brandon Oberfeld and Charles Go. Charles, I didn't get to let you talk, I don't think. So anything to add?
Yeah. No, I mean, maybe just another quick question is that as a startup, obviously, like, how do you stay confident within your product and also be aware of when to adapt and evolve quickly?
Well, considering your confidence drink, always be confident in your product. So what you want to do is realize that especially as young, detach your emotions from the outcome. So when you detach your emotions from an outcome and you place them upon the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of your best and ask for help. I always say the number one thing I tell my 18, 28, 38, 48-year-old self, now that I'm 53, would be the same thing. Same thing that sits on my nightstand every day. Radical humility. Ask for help, man. Find someone that sits in the situation you want to be in. The easiest way you guys are going to get to where you want to go is ask someone who already is there for directions. And this first step of coming on here, asking me, being part of this is definitely a step in the right direction. I'm really proud of both of you guys. Please reach out to me. Remember, everyone, reach out to these guys. ConfidenceDrink.com, @ConfidenceDrink. Great start, guys. Take care.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
David.
so much,
We'll reach
David.
out shortly.
You got Brandon, Charles. I look forward to working with you guys. Take care. Awesome. All right. Very cool. These guys know what they're doing. Not easy. Not easy at all. So these guys are making it happen. All right. We have our last people here. We're doubling it up. Stephanie and Courtney are coming in next here to talk about co-founders of Social Fly. Let me add them in real quickly. Thank you for joining me. And there we go. We'll make sure we got on here. And where's my entrepreneurist? Brandon knows is Eugene Bale. There she is.
Hi, I'm Courtney.
Yes, let me add in Stephanie
Stephanie.
as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Got so many names flying through my head. Fridays are.
Oh,
Well, you got
yes, I know
audibles.
how that
Hey,
goes.
how are you?
Hi, David.
Thank you guys so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us. This is so much fun.
For having us.
Oh, well, awesome. Well, who's going to talk about Social Fly and give us a little bit of background first?
I'll lead with Social Fly. So, hello, nice to meet you, and great to be speaking to everyone today. Social Fly is a social first digital agency that Stephanie and I started back in 2011 on the side of our full-time job. So I was at American Express at the time, and Stephanie was working in hospitality, and we both bonded over our love and passion of social media. And we knew that the capabilities of social media could be used to help a lot of businesses. And not a lot of businesses were embracing the capabilities that existed back then, which are so different now. So over the past 9 years, we've grown to about 30 people. We're all working remotely right now. And we've worked with hundreds of brands.
And you guys do a lot more than just Social Fly. You guys have a podcast. You have a book you co-authored. And obviously as entrepreneuristas, which I love.
Thank you.
You know, the biggest thing I'm curious about is I find it very rare. For 10 years, you two have been working together, evolving from a side hustle into an extraordinary business and platform. You are impacting so many different people, especially young women, entrepreneurs, which is for me a main focal point of what I'm doing, considering I have 3 daughters that are 22, 20, and 17. Obviously, for self-interest, the entrepreneurista space is very important to me. What has been your secret to growing closer together and growing your relationship? I have 2 daughters. They love each other. I have 3 daughters, but the 2 are very close, the older ones. I could not imagine me working with my brother or them working together for 10 years and building such an extraordinary business and platform. I pray they can, but I can't with my brothers, but I pray they can. What's been the secret?
Okay, there's a few secrets to our success being best friends and business partners over the past 10 plus years now. The first, and this is something that we learned over time because we've had an incredible business coach over the years, is really having open communication and being very clear about our goals for the business and making sure that our goals and our vision is completely aligned. So we're always on the same page. And then I just mentioned a business coach that we've worked with for many years now. We started with her a couple years into starting the business, and it was so helpful for us because we really learned how to communicate with each other. If we disagreed about things, how to resolve disagreements and how to always move forward. But like I said, having a vision that we both have, having our vision for both of our, or a couple of our companies now together has been really helpful. And the one thing I'll add is Courtney and I happen to have opposite skill sets, which is something that we have found is extremely important in a business partnership, because you don't want to be doing the same thing all the time and replicating what you both can do. If you can divide and conquer, which is our final secret to our success as a business partner and as business partners, that is definitely extremely helpful. And we always recommend that with business partners, is having those opposite skill sets.
Well, it's obvious that you guys do complement each other. And I take the same perspective in my own marriage. I always tell people that I know you don't think my wife's perfect, but she's perfect for me. And you guys seem perfect for each other as well. And it's been a blessing in my life. Courtney, adaptability is also, I've been dealing in the marketing and PR space for 35 years. And, there's been major changes from print to radio to TV to cable to, that's how old I am. I don't even have to keep going. But there has been just exponential change from 2011 on, let alone the last 18 months. And even the greatest relationships and the greatest businesses, when impacted by exponential change, suffer. What are some of the tricks to adapting your business to what may be the fastest growing? I love that, by the way. Don't worry. What may be the fastest growing space of all in social media and marketing and PR? How have you been able to keep up with the adaptation and stay at the forefront with such big brands and, it's just a huge spectrum of information that you guys are able and capable of helping people with?
That is a really great question. For anyone working in social media, you know that it is a 24/7 job. You really can't turn off social media. You always need to know what people are saying about your clients, and we need to go to our clients with the latest and greatest capabilities. And like you mentioned, when we first started back in 2011, we were really only focused on Facebook and Twitter at the time, and Instagram was still in its infancy. And now I would say that's probably where we focus the most for our clients. So we have always just adapted to everything that's been happening over the years. And one of our tips or secrets, it's not a secret now, is that we always dive in head first when there is a new capability to learn it ourselves, and then we'll take those learnings to our clients. So we're not wait and see types of people. We definitely look at what other brands are doing, but we also try to immerse ourselves in the new capabilities so that we can understand it and speak to our clients knowledgeably about it. And then something that we had to do over the years just to make sure that we were set up to grow and scale is, as influencer marketing became really important and as paid social evolved and the advertising capabilities evolved on each platform, we had to hire specialists of each of those specific divisions to provide the best service for our clients. Whereas in the early days, we were a team of a few people just doing a little bit of everything. And now we're a team of integrated specialists who work together to produce the best results for our clients.
You guys do that very, very well. The other issue last facing you two is one in which, it's such a crowded, noisy space of experts. And even me in the last 4 years, entering and building my own brand, not necessarily all the celebrities and athletes that I had to deal with for the last, decades, I realized one thing, that this is a test, learn, and execute space. And I immediately, if somebody did not have the humility in their business to tell me, hey, we're going to test, learn, and execute together, then I immediately turned them off when they said, well, I'm an expert, this is exactly, I'll guarantee this and that, within the context of social media with the billions of variables and the non-control of the distribution of content. So that, I always say I've shifted my entire strategy to open minds, open hearts, and open hands, because if I can impact someone with an open mind, open heart, and open hands, who knows who they know, And, I don't have to particularly find an avatar of, who's driving by my billboard on the 405 to see Warren Moon, with Metrex. Those days are over.
Yeah.
For you, Steph, how have you been able to manage the expectations of your clients that it's still a hit or miss game, and that, strategically and statistically, they're going to have to test, learn, and execute with you?
It actually goes back to what I was sharing about how to have a great business partnership. It's having open communication with your clients and sharing, what the expectations are, what's possible, what we want to happen, but it doesn't always work. You have to test things, figure out what works for you, what works for your brand, because what might work for another brand or another person might not work for you. Something that we've advised clients to do, especially clients, a lot of our women business owners who are, forward facing in the public, in the media, and speaking about their brand, is really focusing on their personal brand. Because something that I share over and over again with business owners is that people like to buy from people that they genuinely like, that they trust. They want to do business with those people. So if you can focus on really being your authentic self and showing up on social, and of course, talking about your business and what's happening behind the scenes, people will become invested in you, invested in your business, and will ultimately buy into your brand and become these brand evangelists.
What you've done for yourself with Like, Love, and Follow, the book you co-authored, of course, the Entreprenista media side of things with your podcast that you do. So we both share the same journey, as I was in the traditional media space for so long, and then utilizing social media early on for my clients, the celebrities and athletes, and then turning inwards myself, understanding people buy on emotion for logical reasons. Well, both of you have me sold. I am in the trust and love stage. I trust and love both of you. You guys are extraordinary guests. I come back. Please, the information and insight that you've given is so aligned with what I believe to have helped me build my brand, and big brands build their brands. Socialflyny.com, entreprenista.com. Anywhere else everyone should go buy your book, listen to your podcast. Where do you want me to send them?
Sure. We also recently launched our Entreprenista League, which is our membership community for entreprenistas. So for more information to join our membership program, it's entreprenista.com/the league. And actually yesterday, we just announced our partnership with Shopify. So for anyone that is thinking about starting a business, like if you've ever said, I have a great business idea, but then you've never started and actually executed, all of those people are the perfect attendees for Entreprenista on Shopify event series. We're going to be giving everyone a free trial to Shopify, learning the ins and outs of how to grow your business, SEO, digital marketing. So to register for that free event series, it's events.entreprenista.com. And we're so grateful that you had us on your show today. We're looking forward to staying connected. And then here's our love to everyone. So thank you.
Yes. And what Stephanie's holding up is actually a product that we invented and use Shopify to sell. So if anyone is working remotely and wants to engage their team and collaborate better over Zoom or any video meeting, we now have these little signs you can buy, and you can buy them on hellodigicards.com.
You guys are awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Courtney. I look forward to doing more with you too. Have a wonderful weekend.
You
Thanks
too.
for joining me.
Bye.
Great entreprenistas. Those are two extraordinary women. Great milestones for my girls. All right, I got to jump. I got to interview them. We got training, passion, purpose, and profitability. 11 a.m. Pacific time. Join me. Over 50,000 people registered for training, and listen, hundreds of thousands. Listen, of course, on and watch the playbook. Download the playbook, share it, like it, all of my trainings, but more importantly, billionaires, millionaires, entrepreneurs, celebrities, athletes, and entertainers. Email me, david@dmeltzer.com, if you want my book, ebook, audiobook, or I'll sign a copy and send it to you. I pay for everything. david@dmeltzer.com. Thank you, everybody. I will see you in 2 hours and 20 minutes from now. Remember, most importantly, everyone, thank you to my guests, but be kind to your future self and do good deeds. We'll see you in a couple. Peace.